and welcome back to the Graceful Tangle YouTube channel. I'm Amy Kate, a young but passionate knitter and crocheter. You can find all of the links to my various social media platforms in the description box below, so be sure to check those out. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please be sure to go ahead and do that. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell right by the subscribe button so that you can know each and every time I upload a new video. Alrighty guys, I have been waiting to film this video for quite a while now, and you seeing this video means that my Anouk Pullover is finished and that the pattern is out to you guys, and I could not be more excited. I love this sweater so much. It is definitely one of my most favorite crocheted garments that I've ever made. I have a couple of cardigans that can't really compare because they're cardigans, not sweaters, and they're worsted weight, not fingering weight. So each is very different, and that's what makes it so special. But this is definitely one of my favorite things that I've made, and I'm just so excited I can talk about it with you guys. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. Now, I want to talk about a few different things about this pattern. The first being the construction. So this sweater is made in separate panels that are then seamed together, and then you add the sleeves and the ribbing sections. So you make a front panel, a back panel, which you can see right there. Of course, my sweater has a back. That was a silly analogy, huh? Okay, so you make the front panel and you make the back panel, and then you seam them together on the shoulders and down the sides. And then you crochet the sleeves directly onto the sweater, so they aren't made flat, they're made in the round. But you still maintain this super cute puff stitch on the sleeves that is also on the center front and center back, which I love so much. And then you add the sleeve ribbing and the body ribbing. Now, if I remember correctly in the pattern, Bella actually tells you to crochet the ribbing onto the panels before you seam them together. However, I actually did it after seaming them together, and I'm going to explain why in just a little bit. But you have the option to do either a shorter ribbing or a longer ribbing, or you can do like a high-low ribbing, and you can have a split hem or a closed hem. There's so many options for the sweater, which is why it makes it so special. So I think I forgot to mention it before, but this is a pattern by Bella of Bella's Custom Crochets. She's one of my absolute favorite designers, and I just love following her as a person, as a maker. I am so thrilled to see her on Instagram daily and just all of the things. I really, really, really admire her as a friend, person, designer, crocheter, maker, all of the above. And so anyway, this is one of her patterns. Now, this is a fingering weight sweater, which is actually my first fingering weight crochet sweater. I've made a couple of fingering weight knit sweaters, I think. Now I'm actually trying to remember. I don't fully remember, but this is definitely my first fingering weight crochet sweater. I use Knit Picks Static, so that is the yellow color, and it is in the colorway Peachy, which Bella actually pointed out that it does not look anything peachy. And I completely agree with that. The thing that this color most reminds me of is a number 2 pencil, because I've talked about this before, but let me just show you. So you have the yellow wood for the pencil, and then the pink eraser right along here in all of these sections, the silvery blue for like that little metal part of a pencil, the white eraser, I don't know if I already said that, but it kind of totally looks like a number 2 pencil. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not an annoying way of looking like a pencil. I kind of like it. I actually really like this yarn. I like it more than I thought I did. This wasn't the intended yarn. This isn't the yarn that I was planning on using. But it ended up being my, second choice and what I had to work with. And I actually really, really love how it turned out. So I'm not complaining at all. It was also not my original intent to do the contrasting sleeve cuffs and ribbing. Now, this sweater, I loved making it. I loved the entire process of making it. I will say that the single crochet through the back lip only kind of got on my nose, but that was not the pattern's fault, nor was it really my own fault. Definitely not Bella's fault. It was just I have done so much back loop single crochet recently, and I kind of need a little break from it, but I had to do a lot of it for this. So anyway, that was like the only part of the pattern that wasn't a complete joy, I guess I should say. So again, it wasn't my intent to do the contrasting sleeve cuffs. I had 4 skeins of this yarn, completely thought it was going to be enough. It was a little bit under the yardage that she recommended, but I kind of assumed that she had gone, you know, like her estimates were off as in too high, not too low, and I was incorrect in assuming that. So I thought I had enough, didn't quite have enough. And then I didn't want to order more because I wasn't sure that it was going to come in time. And so I had some Knit Picks Stroll in the color white in my stash. So I decided to go for it and start that. I did 1 entire sleeve and ran out of yarn. I did not have enough. I was so certain that I had 2 skeins of that yarn, and I just didn't. I couldn't find it, and I still haven't found it, which means I don't have 2 skeins. So I was able to order some more white yarn. However, it was so delayed that I missed the original deadline for this test, and that was super disappointing. Bella was so encouraging and so gracious, which I am so grateful for, but it was still disappointing on my end. However, the yarn did finally arrive, and I had ordered bare, not white. And they obviously are not the same thing. Something about that didn't register in my mind, but they weren't the same. So, newsflash, bare and white yarn aren't the same. So I had to rip back the sleeve that I had done in that 1 skein of white and just do bare, which was absolutely ridiculous, but it was okay. It was worth it. I got through it. I actually did both of the white sections of this in 1 day, and then I did the ribbing in the day after that. So it totally was okay. It got done as soon as the yarn came, which was what I was planning on doing from the get-go. And it turned out absolutely amazing. So a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. A couple of modifications. So I didn't do anything super drastic to the pattern. Of course, as I always want to make a point across when I'm talking about something that I have tested and made modifications to, always talk to the designer before you make a modification. You never know, if they're going to want you to make that modification. I've been in testing experiences where they haven't wanted me to, or they've been more than welcome for me to. It just depends. One thing that a lot of designers that I've tested for have asked me to do is if I modify something, to figure out what I would have done if I hadn't modified it. So for example, I am a short person. I'm shorter than most people, or most grown women, I guess I should say. And so if I have to make a modification to something, it is almost always because of my height. With this specific sweater, I had to modify the sleeves and make them shorter. However, for another designer that I have tested for multiple times, I almost always have to shorten the length of the torso on her sweaters. Unless it's like designed to be cropped, then I almost always have to take away some length to get it to hip length rather than mid-thigh length. So what that designer has always wanted me to do is calculate how much yardage I would have used if I hadn't modified it at all. So my point in saying all of that is just to always be aware of the designer and know that they are asking you to test the pattern how it's written, not how, you would change if you were just modifying a pattern that you were following because you purchased it. So always check with the designer. All of that being said, the only modification that I made to this is the sleeves. So all I did was shorten them by about 20 rows, I think. Yeah, 20 rows, which obviously need to be done. I mean, they fit me absolutely perfectly with room to spare. I can still, cover it all over my hand, which is what Bella designed it to be. However, if I had done the extra 20 rows, it would have been, way down here. And that wouldn't have been necessarily ideal, especially since I was finishing off with white, which is already a gamble on my part, because I never fail to get something on myself, whether it be food or pen. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's really the only modification that I made. Like I said earlier, I did wait and do the ribbing on the body until after I had already seamed it. I just did that so that I could really try it on, test out the length, because I knew it was going to be delayed. me finishing it was going to be a little bit delayed, and I wanted to give her as many notes as I could, even though it wasn't quite finished. So that was a modification, but it didn't change anything in the long run, especially since I was planning on doing this split hem anyway. It really didn't matter. Now, if I didn't want to do the split hem, and I still wanted to do the ribbing after I seamed the body, I would have just done the ribbing, and then I would just like sew up this little bit right here with the white yarn, and then leave it in. And that would have been completely fine too. So you could do the ribbing before seaming or after seaming. It doesn't really change much. But yeah, and again, I did both of the short ribbing options for the front and back panel instead of the short in front and the long in the back. Let's see, there was one other thing that I wanted. Oh yes, one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is another modification that you can make to this sweater that I think is super duper cool. Is you can do a V-neck in the front and a V-neck in the back, so you can make two front panels. They're the same width, so you would just follow the V-neck instructions for both panels. I decided to do the V-neck panel for the front and then the boat neck panel for the back. You could also do two boat neck panels. Again, you can do two V-neck panels. You can also flip it around. So Bella, in one of her recent podcasts, when she finished it, she actually turned it around while on camera. So I'm just going to be Bella for a moment and completely copy her so that I can show you that it can be reversible, because I think it's such a super cool feature. So look at that, totally nailed it. So this is actually the first time that I've worn it like this. So this is what it looks like in the front, and then in the back it goes beautifully low but not too low, like you can't see what I'm wearing under it, which is really nice. So now I'm gonna flip it back around. I feel like Bella when I'm doing this. I was watching her podcast when she did this. It says, I think the title of it is like wearing my sweater inside out like the professional I am, or something along those lines, because in that same episode she realized she was wearing her sweater inside out. But anywho, so yeah, really love that little feature about this sweater. And now it's totally in the front again. And again, this puff stitch detail is like one of my absolute favorite things about this sweater. And it's super simple to do. One of the hardest things about this pattern is just kind of getting used to placing that puff stitch in the right spot every time. But once you nail that after a few rows, you are good to go, and it's just a beautifully mindless project. So I absolutely love this sweater. I hope you enjoyed hearing all about it and that you go over and check out the pattern for yourself. I'm so proud of myself that I managed to turn it all the way around on camera. That was pretty impressive, Amy Kate. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed hearing all about it. Be sure to go check out the pattern. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again next time. Bye!